Hey, how you doing today? I'm coming back at you. It's the Black Smedley Butler, and I'm also a leader of the Indigenous Army of Haiti. Today I'm going to break down to you the Indigenous Army of Haiti. A lot of people are not aware that Haiti is, a lot of people are not aware how the Indigenous Army of Haiti was formed. The Indigenous Army of Haiti was formed after the Battle des Verités. It was an important battle of Haiti. That was when the mulatto bourgeoisie class and also the African slaves and also the indigenous Maroons all came together to form an army. Now, it was the indigenous black Maroons that insisted on calling it the Indigenous Army of Haiti. It seems like they could see into the future, because I always wondered why they chose to call it that, but looking at the situation of indigenous black people across the world today, I could see why. The reason why they wanted to call it that is because they wanted to make it be known that Haitian people are indigenous to the island of Haiti. The reason why I say this is because at the arrival of Christopher Columbus, he wrote in his diary that he was amazed to find black people in Haiti. He called them quote-unquote Ethiopians. And also, it was written by Queen Anna Konoa, the Queen of Haiti at the time. She wrote that when the Columbus's men arrived, they reminded her of Abu Bakari's expedition. Now, I have to tell you about Abu Bakari. He was the predecessor of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the richest man in the world. What happened is he came to the throne when his brother Abu Bakari made an expedition to the Americas. Now, Trump has a term that he actually like to use where he says fake news. I have a term that I like to use called fake history. A lot of the history they tell you about black people in the indigenous, black people in pre-colonial America is fake history. Now, what happened was Abu Bakari was sat on the throne. He gave up the throne to Mansa Musa to make a trip to the Americas expedition. And they say he never arrived here. But Mansa Musa made a Hajj to Mecca, where he spoke about how his brother made a trip to made an expedition to the Americas and never returned. Now, what happened is in the letter by Queen Anna Konoa, she wrote how Abu Bakari arrived here and they were a big sensation, and they spread throughout the Americas. They arrived here and they brought a lot of new technology, and that's why she was so welcoming to Christopher Columbus when he arrived, because of Abu Bakari's expedition. And my friend's gonna say one or two things about indigenous people of Haiti.
Okay. Hi, my name is Marie. What I want to talk about is the history of Columbus landing in what they call the New World. He did not land in America. He landed with today's Hispaniola, aka Haiti, Dominican Republic. So along with Columbus traveled a priest by the name of Bartholomew de las Casas. His diary, his book can be found. It's called The Destruction of the Indies by Bartholomew de las Casas. Basically, he talks about what they did to the people that were there when they arrived, the Taino, the Arawak, and Carib. So Columbus saw they were adorned with gold because that's what they wore. To them, it wasn't a possession, it was something they used to adorn themselves and their wives and children. So he saw that he could bring that back and show King Ferdinand, Queen Isabella what he found, and that'll make him a big man, I guess. So he proceeded to collect the gold from the people. If they didn't bring back enough gold, he would chop their hands off, he would brutalize them all kinds of ways, because he saw these people defenseless. They had bows and arrows, they were peaceful people. They weren't warring people, they weren't like the Europeans that came there, so they chose to subjugate them and take their land. So that's how he came to the Americas. He never landed in what today's America, he landed in Haiti. And the name for Haiti is Haiti, the indigenous original Arawak Caribbean name. The Italian name is Haiti, A-Y-I-T-I, but they anglicized it and made it Haiti with an H. But that is the original name. When Dessalines fought the French, and he said, we're gonna honor our ancestors, the Taino, Arawak, Carib, by keeping the indigenous name of Haiti, beautiful
Haiti
mountains.
was part of the Taino kingdom at their arrival. All of the islands were part of the Taino kingdom at the arrival. Black Taino kingdom.
And we traveled
they used the
everywhere.
first, what happens is, like you said about the Bartholomew de Casas, they used the first census to erase us. So be careful with the census takers, because the Spaniards used the first census to erase us out of extinction. And they try to say a million people died from the flu, from I don't know what, but in actuality, it was the census that they used to erase us, because a lot of the Maroons fled to the mountains of Haiti at the time. They fled to the eastern side of the island while he took over the rest. But this is a short clip. We just hit you with this indigenous knowledge, and we'll be back at you. Peace. Peace. One.